blue card from the front desk, filled out and given to Lisa. Okay. Oh, I should have. I'll just call them. Okay. You ready? You guys logged in? Okay. Okay. Okay, it is 6:33 p.m. on February 13th, 2019, and I'll call this meeting to order. Lisa, will you please take the roll call?
Adelaide Norr.
Present.
Ben Owens.
Present.
Tori Anderson.
Present.
Joshua Judd.
Present.
Patty Cottrell.
Present.
Great, thank you. Vice Mayor Henry Wade, would you please lead us in the pledge? Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We will now move on to item 1D, adoption of the agenda.
President Norr, I'd like to remove item 6I from the consent agenda and put that as the first action item.
Sure. 6I to action. Any other changes, Board?
Yeah, I would like to remove 6F,
Sure.
and just so it's an open vote.
6F will be the second item on the action items. Any other changes or motions?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and second. Lisa, will you please call the vote?
Patty Cottrell.
Aye.
Josh Judd.
Aye.
Tori Anderson.
Yes.
Ben Owens.
Aye.
Adelaide Norr.
Yes. By your vote of 5-0, we have approved the agenda, moving 6I and F to the action items. We will now move on to call to the public. We have one card. Mr. Roger Wagner, please come forward.
Hey, good evening. Roger Wagner, 37902 West Merced Street, Maricopa, Arizona. I wanted to come with two quick things this evening, maybe three quick things. First, a celebration. I sent this out in an email. I hope you had a chance to check it out. Finally able to open room 333, the new instrumental music room at Desert Wind, which is two things. First, really awesome and a tremendous success for us. So I wanted to come and say thank you for that, because that wouldn't have happened without your support. And I know each and every one of us actually interacted about it and saw it and was part of the process. So a tremendous thank you, board members, and also to our new product staff, for getting us there and getting us to that. There was a really cool moment Monday morning at about 8:40 when students came in for the first time, and we're just like, oh, this is ours now. So speaking of that, the celebration and then the invitation, wanted to specifically invite you folks out to see it Thursday of next week if you're available. Symphonic band and orchestra are both performing in a Boda festival or even a band and orchestra festival, and we'd like to do a run through for you guys so you can see the new space and also hear our students perform. I included dates and times in the email, but it's Thursday about noon to 12:20 and 2:30 to about 2:50 if you want to check it out. They'll be performing symphonic band in a Boda festival at Mountain Point on Tuesday, February 26th. Wednesday, orchestra is performing at Queen Creek High School for a Boda Orchestra Festival. And then Thursday, we have our own hometown concert. So I'd like to invite you to all those events, but particularly come out and see what you guys have helped us do and what we've done for the kids. So thank you, and we hope to see you there.
Great, thank you for sharing that. We will now move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Lopman.
Great. Thank you.
There you go.
February is Career and Technical Education, that's CTE month. Maricopa High School CTE Administrator Dr. Poppin was interviewed on KTAR yesterday and shared the exciting opportunities our program offers to our students. The segment will air tomorrow morning and possibly again in the afternoon. Tune in to KTAR for some Maricopa pride. The CTE department at the high school is also hosting various events throughout the month. February 23rd and 24th, students will be volunteering at the Copa Shorts event at Maricopa High School PAC. And on February 23rd, the computer maintenance and networking students will be hosting a tech recycle event at the high school. That's going to be cool. We hope to see you there. Maricopa High School's girls basketball advance to further into the state playoffs. Our Lady Rams are on fire, and last night they scored 58 to 48 win against Marana. Their next game is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at Millennium High School. So put on your Ram gear and meet us there to cheer them on. Last week, oh, I'm supposed to be clicking this. Yay,
players.
Lady Rams. Okay. Last week, our MUSD Chief Science Officers hosted fellow Pinal County CSOs at a regional spring cabinet meeting. The cabinet meets annually to collaborate, share ideas, and receive feedback on their action plans, which help serve their schools and local communities. A big thank you to the students and their sponsor, Dr. Donna Jagalski, for being outstanding ambassadors for MUSD. In 2015, exceptional student services teacher Kimberly Williams envisioned an idea to enhance the life and social skills of her students, the initiation of Turbo Coffee. A school-wide coffee delivery service gave her scholars the opportunity to practice communication skills in meaningful settings and introduce the importance of work ethics and customer service. Today, scholars continue Miss Kim's vision by delivering hot and cold beverages to MES staff and VIP guests. Over the past 4 years, Turbo Coffee has become a complete success, servicing nearly 350 orders a month. With an assortment of creamers and sweeteners, customers can personalize their orders via a weekly electronic order. Scholars from ESS classes in grades 2 through 5 are selected for daily delivery based on classroom job performance, exhibiting positive attitudes, and exercising personal and classroom safety. At the close of each week, scholars distribute customer invoices and collect monies owed. In May of 2018, Turbo Coffee received full sponsorship from the neighborhood Starbucks on John Wayne Parkway. Starbucks now donates each month in support of their community and the MES ESS department.
Nice.
I just love that. Cheers to Turbo Coffee and the progress it has made over the years and the opportunities it continues to provide our scholars. As a board member for the Maricopa Economic Development Alliance, I met with community leaders this afternoon to discuss the role Maricopa Unified plays in making Maricopa a destination city. The key to a successful community starts with top-quality public education. I shared that neighborhood schools attract families looking for top-quality education for their children and highlighted our outstanding programs and A schools, as well as opportunities to partner by attending events and sharing our good news. We're looking forward to developing strong partnerships and collaborating with community leaders to drive initiatives that will boost economic growth in Maricopa. Well, folks, it's almost here. Preschool registration opens Friday at 8 a.m. Our phone lines are already flooded with inquiries from parents who are looking for a top-notch preschool experience. And they found it. Our full-day program is led by certified teachers and offers research-based curriculum and competitive pricing. We are confident that we are offering the best preschool experience in Maricopa, and we invite all who are interested to visit us on Friday to reserve a spot for the 2019-2020 school year. We've got an upcoming event. Maricopa Unified School District is hosting a partners luncheon on Friday, March 1st. Business, faith, and community leaders will collaborate and share opportunities to support our students and families within the community. I believe our CTE culinary department is preparing lunch. Okay, well, 1, 2, 3, so there's 5 spots that are filled.
Are filled.
So I know I look forward to seeing you there. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Dr. Lotman. Lots of good news. We will now move on to our governing board member reports, and we can start with our vice president, Mr. Owens.
Good evening. Let's see here. On February 4th, I joined Mr. Mike Bristol from ED3, and Mike is the director of engineering out there, and he and I have kind of been having some conversations over the past few months about having his input and some input from ED3 into our middle schools, particularly into the blended when it comes to the future cities, and we finally were able to get a presentation and a date arranged, and he did a great job of really giving a really good overlook of what the ED3 system looks like all the way from power generation at a hydroelectric dam in northern Arizona, or a coal plant, all the way down to how it comes into the house. And he really did a fantastic job. So hats off to him. And we had a lot of really good questions from the students. They were really engaged with it, and we look forward to next year kind of expanding it out. And I think that'll be a really good thing. And then this past Saturday, I helped Mr. Wagner move stuff from the old band room into the new one, and I was amazed at the number of kids that showed up for that.
Nice.
Even a lot of high schoolers that don't necessarily have anything to do with the band program at the middle school, but they were there, and everybody helped out, and it was great to see. So that's all I've got.
Great, thank you. Mrs. Anderson?
Good evening. Okay, so it's been a crazy whirlwind couple of weeks. I'm excited to be back in a regular scheduled board meeting and just kind of get back to normalcy. I just want to report briefly, I did meet with Dr. Lotman about my trip to DC, and it was freezing cold, but it was quite productive. Saturday, we spent the day in an equity symposium, which was quite interesting, and I sent some great documents to Dr. Lotman if you are interested in kind of the Fed side of it, and what's coming down from Betsy DeVos from the Federal Education Department. So that's a nice report. If you want that, you can check with Dr. Lotman, because during the meeting I'm texting her everything. So technology's great. I will say, Tuesday when we were on the Hill, I just want to give you a quick snapshot of how exhausting it was to go from the Senate building over to the other building and back and forth. And security is so tight that you have to go through security. You have to be at the Capitol, the Visitor Center, and you have to be escorted from one side to the next with one of the aides, one of the whoever's office you're going to. So it was interesting because by the end of the day, because I wore my cowboy boots, they were just like, just come on through. So it was kind of fun. It was very, very personable. But we were able to see Representative Gosar, Grijalva, Kirkpatrick, Senator Sinema, Greg Stanton, Representative O'Halloran, Schweikert, Debbie Lesko, Representative Biggs, and Congressman Gallego, all in one day. It was amazing. The three main topics that we talked about was the reauthorization of the IDEA Act, which is the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, and not only reauthorizing it, but reissuing it, focusing on student outcomes instead of just a checklist of services provided. So we did ask them to reauthorize that, and I also got on my knees and begged every single one of them as part of my spiel that we really need the federal government to fully fund IDEA, because as a district we only get about 17%, and when this was originally constructed in the 60s, it was supposed to be 100% funded by the federal government. And so it was good response from everybody because they didn't realize that as a district our size, we only receive 17% instead of 100%, and the difference has to come out of our M&O budget. And so my plea for them was if they would, I said, I would love to reach for 80%. I said, and I will settle for 60%. I said, this is all about negotiation. And so, and of course they laughed because they know that's not possible. But I just let them know that that money could really go into our teacher salaries and into the classrooms if they would fully fund the IDEA Act as it was intended when it was originally written. So that was a big part of the conversation. The other part was asking them to try to avert another shutdown because we are concerned for our children who come to school for their free and reduced lunches because the USDA would shut down and our schools were on the verge, not particularly our district, but other districts around the state, of not knowing how they were going to feed these students. So that was a big issue. So we did talk about that. And then, of course, the next hot topic was school safety. And a big part of that is we're really trying to push for federal funding for school safety, mainly for mental health professionals. That if we can fund prevention and intervention instead of trying to react to what's happening, that it would better serve our students and have a better outcome for all of our communities. So those three messages, they were well received. They were all on board and receptive to our view of school safety, that we really need to approach it from a mental health and have those mental health professionals in each of our schools. And then the other piece of that mental health was the FERPA, whereas with FERPA, it's very hard for teachers or even staff to talk to each other. And it would be nice to be able to get another view on that so that, from the federal standpoint, so that we could actually share information even within a school district and with other districts and really get our students the help and some of our staff the help that they need. To go forward. So it was very productive. I was excited. It was amazing to actually have a seat at the table and be a part of that conversation. And it was some courageous and tough conversations at times because some of the questions they had were, because as you know, not all of them are public education supporters. Just can put it out there. So it was a good conversation, and it was an open conversation. So I was proud to be a part of that. The other piece was Saturday night, I had the opportunity to go and celebrate with Dr. Lotman and 13 of our teachers, the Accomplished Teaching Dinner, which was for the National Board Certification teachers. And what an amazing evening. They did a fantastic job. The K-12 Center hosted it. And I was so proud to, when Kim Covington was announcing teachers, there were, 13 from Maricopa, and halfway through she goes, has anybody heard of Maricopa Unified? Making a joke, but she was, she made a point that, wow, this school is really stepping up. So that was a very proud moment, and then she stopped me afterwards, and because she had come down, she's been to Maricopa High School. I don't know if you know who Kim Covington is. Mm-hmm. She's been to Maricopa High School and has done several education pieces on our district. So it was nice to touch base with her, and she was very proud of how far we've come and what we've accomplished. So our teachers are amazing, and I hope that we can continue and teachers continue to strive for that national board certification because it does change the teaching profession, and it absolutely influences our students. Tonight I will be going to the Equity Conference, which is in Phoenix, that Arizona School Board Association is putting on, and that's Thursday and Friday. Actually, it started today, so it's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So I will be sending information to Dr. Lotman and Michelle and getting that information out. And then on February 25th, ASBA is holding an education lobby day that is open to anybody. You just need to register, and you can go to azsba.org and register for that. It's from 9 to 3, and we're actually, SOS Arizona is going to be hosting a little reception after 3, but it'll be a nice day to have conversations at our state level They're going to have all the representatives and legislators there. So if you're available, that's another, and it's open to anybody. You just need to register so we can kind of get a handle on who's going to be there. But again, it's another opportunity to have a voice when it comes to our public education dollars. So I would recommend that. Monday, I did go to the high school for parent-teacher conferences, and I'm just going to put it out there, not a fan of the online registration. 10 minutes, it was hard. The turnout was not as great as I had seen in the past, so I don't know if that was timing. So it was great for me because I got to roam the halls and get to talk to some teachers and step into some classrooms. So it was a great opportunity for board members in the future to go and be able to meet with these teachers and see what's going on. So it was, it's always good to see what face-to-face with what teachers are going, what they're doing. Tuesday night, I will be at City Council meeting. And I just want to put a plug out there. February is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. So if anybody needs information or has questions or wants to find out more about it, you can go to againstabuse.org and you can click on and find some information about teen dating violence. It does happen, it is real, but it can be stopped. So I just want to make that the end, and it's been crazy and it's going to keep going. So I'm excited that we're here. That's it.
Great. Thank you, Mrs. Anderson. Lots of good information. And we're glad you're back.
Yeah, me too. Whew.
Mr. Judd.
Nothing to report this evening, President Moore.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Cotray.
Thank you, President Knorr. Well, this weekend, I was extremely busy. As you know, it was the annual Parish Festival at Our Lady of Grace. It was proud that, as of every year, our band kicks off the evening on Friday. And this year they actually had a booth to raise funds for their DC trip. And it was the Pie in the Face. And I was happy to say that one of our priests raised $100 and got a pie right in his face. So it wasn't Father Velasquez, but it's okay. It was a really nice turnout. The weather kind of deterred some of the patrons that we usually see, but I was happy that the band was a part of it. Seeing all those kids going around and just having a lot of fun and raising funds and taking ownership of their trip was really nice. Kudos to all of our winter sports. Of course, our ladies basketball, they still got a shot, and I wish them all the luck. Our wrestlers did amazing at state, our first female wrestler. And our girls soccer had another history-breaking season. They went as far as they've ever gone into the state playoffs. Unfortunately, they did lose to Castile on Saturday, which I did spend a little time away from the festival to go to that. But kudos on to all the athletes. They had a heck of a season. I would like to see our athletic department invest into some tents and some heaters. Because it is very, very cold out there. And I saw other schools, they had tents where they put like 3 sides up, and then they had a little propane tank heater to keep their athletes warm. So that's something that I think maybe we could look into at some time. Monday, I was invited by DECA to come and help them prepare. They had mock competitions because they're getting ready to go to state at the end of the month. And it was a lot of fun to go and go through as a judge, and with these scenarios, they literally have 10 minutes to read through everything, and then you get to role play with them. And it was a lot of fun. And they're going to be sending all of us an email inviting us to come. It's at the end of the month, and they're going to be at Arizona Grand, is where the state competition. So I'm going to try to go over one of those days, and I hope somebody can join me, and it'll be a lot of fun and to help support them. Tomorrow morning, I will be attending the chamber breakfast. I believe Mayor Price will be there giving his annual State of the City business thing with the chamber, so I'll be there. And then just as a reminder, I will not be here at the next regularly scheduled board meeting. I will be flying home. I couldn't get an earlier flight. So other than that, that's it. Thank you.
Great, thank you. That was such a great report, Board. I just have one thing I want to add. I was not able to visit any schools or attend many functions for the last couple weeks because the legislature's in session, and so my work life is pretty intense. However, I'm glad I have such a great board that can do that and come report back. I went on a trip and I read a book. It's an older book, but I had never read it, called Freakonomics. And in it, it talks about one of the biggest predictors of a child's success in school is having a certified teacher teach them preschool. It's one of the biggest data indicators, more than having a stay-at-home mom, more than going to a preschool without a certified teacher. Having a certified teacher, teach your son or daughter in preschool is the biggest indicator of their success in school. So I'm really excited about the opportunity that we're providing to the kids in Maricopa and the parents and the families to have that opportunity and an extra chance at success. So thank you for all you're doing on that, but I just wanted to share that. And with that, we will move on to 5A, MUSD Strategic Plan. Dr. Lutman.
Okay, well, board members, I'm going to pass down to you a folder that has, in addition to the draft goals, it has some other marketing materials that I wanted you to be aware of, and know that these are draft form, and we have not mass produced them. This is for tonight, and it just gives you an idea of some of the things that we're developing and the directions that we're taking. So if you open your folder on the left-hand side behind the partners luncheon, we should have had Mrs. Anderson take these invitations to all of the legislators
I know.
next year.
It's okay. I mean,
I
I can
can
hand
do
them
it.
out on the
Okay.
25th, and Anna Marie will see them before
Okay.
I go.
Yeah,
Perfect. We'll make sure that
Absolutely.
you are equipped.
But
Okay.
I can take a stack on the 25th.
Okay, perfect. Because they're going to want to know what's happening in Maricopa.
Yes,
Hello.
absolutely.
So, among other things, at that luncheon, we'll probably share elements of our strategic plan or our goals, because our 4 goals came from our inclusive process. If you remember, this began in August with a group of over 100 people, parents, students, teachers, board members, administrators, representatives of the police department, city council, the mayor was there, city manager was there, other community agencies were there. It was completely representative of every stakeholder group in the city. And there we talked about our hopes and dreams, and we actually started with why, because when you start with why and the purpose that drives our work, we knew that we were going to have tremendous clarity around the directions we wanted to take. So when we crafted our why, you can see in the very handwriting that you all did the things that were important to us. Building a better future, making the next generation better, becoming the best we can be, making a better world. And so making sure that we're developing Maricopa Unified as a premier education system, the cornerstone of a vibrant city. That's our why. And when that drives our work, gets us out of bed every morning, we know that when the going gets tough, we are still going to show up. We're still going to lesson plan on Sundays. We're still going to stay late on Fridays. We're still going to read that board packet, late at night on Tuesday night. I know the work that you put in too as volunteers, but it's the why. It's because our hopes and dreams drive us. So our hopes and dreams led to 4 goals. The first goal has to do with every student graduating prepared to create, innovate, lead, and succeed. And behind that goal 1, you'll see several strategies that are critical to our success in making sure that we can continually achieve a 100% graduation rate for every student. We know that plans for graduation and plans for college start in preschool, so you'll see preschool there. You will also see that we have a strategy of multiple paths to graduation, because not every kid fits into the regular track. And that's part of our insurance policy, to making sure we can catch every kid and congratulate every kid walking across the stage at the end of their senior year. So those strategies there, if we do that, those strategies, if we do those, we know that every student will graduate prepared to create, innovate, lead, and succeed. And as you look at those strategies, you'll see at the very last one involves parents, about how we can involve parents. Parent involvement is critical to our graduation rate. And we don't have the specifics, because those will evolve over the years towards 2025, towards 2030. Those will evolve. But we know that one of our strategies that we have to invest in every single year is effective ways to involve parents. So I wanted to highlight a couple of those, but let you know that those strategies there are what will serve as the guideposts for our action steps as well. Now, this strategic plan is not finalized, and even when it is final, it's still a living document. And we expect these goals and strategies to endure. If you have input, I want to know. Our team wants to know. But the elements that will evolve and be flexible and agile are in the action steps. That's the work that our staff will do, our directors, myself. You're going to have some stuff that you're going to be involved in, our teachers. That's where the work will be, and that's where the flexibility and agility is most significantly noticed. So I like that every student graduating is goal 1. Second goal is every student has access to and equity in excellent educational services, resources, and programs. Access and equity is exactly what Mrs. Anderson participated in while she was in Washington, D.C. We don't want a great education to be by chance because they got the good teacher in 2nd grade. We want every teacher to be the good teacher in 2nd grade. And so when we talk about access and equity to excellent services, resources, and programs, we're talking about teachers. Teachers are our most important resource. Curriculum, technology, staff development, tutoring programs, things that are going to, elements of our educational program that are going to serve social and emotional needs. So it's really all the product and work that we can bring to the school and customize for students. So I want to highlight one right in the middle there, developing staff towards the MUSD professional profile. That's how, when we create that profile, we don't have it yet. We got to create it. But it will reflect what that great teacher has, can do, the skills he or she has, the training he or she has, the ability to use the technology to its fullest extent. That's that MUSD professional profile. It's not just the teachers. We're talking about bus drivers and crossing guards and cafeteria staff being equipped with really good relationship and management skills like PBIS strategies. That's the MUSD profile, having depth and flexibility in their professional repertoire. So I'm really looking forward to developing that as well. Also on there, working with our community to develop that MUSD professional profile. And then you can see also the technology strategic plan. That's another strategic plan that kind of is another layer to our processes over the next years. It will take years, and we're planning on updates of our technology and our programs and our training all the time. But we want that delineated across the next 5 years so that it makes it more likely that we achieve that greatness You know, when we want that one-to-one technology, we have to be very deliberate and methodical about it. So having the technology strategic plan is going to be integral to our success. So that's goal 2. Goal 3 is organizational culture. I have these kind of memorized. And you will too. They're easy to remember. It's the 4 things that are important. So the third one is organizational culture that prioritizes people over programs and invests in the support of students and staff. You have heard that analogy. You've heard about what happens when you're on an airplane and, you know, the pressure changes, the cabin pressure changes, and the oxygen mask comes down. You need to put your own mask on before you help whoever's around you. That's the idea behind this organizational culture goal. We need to take care of each other first. We need to take care of our staff so that we can take care of our students and our families. So we're looking at things like strategies, recruitment strategies, and onboarding and mentoring strategies. We're talking about compensation and benefits here. We're talking, so those are all things that are practical, tangible. But then there's also the cultural side that includes transparency and inclusive processes, collaboration, kind of like we did for the strategic plan. Strategies and approaches that take a lot longer, but are so much better when we get to the end because they have included everybody. So that's again, that's what we're striving for, is celebrating that culture that people will drive 30, 50 miles to be a part of, and then eventually move to Maricopa because it's just who we are. So that's goal 3. Goal 4 is community pride. When we did our strategic plan, we talked about community perception and how it's so important, and telling our story is going to be an important part of that. And when we tell our story well, we are going to become the pride of Maricopa. And these elements of this goal, excellent customer service, sound business practices, open and effective communication, and safe and attractive facilities, those are the things that touch our entire community. So I'm really looking forward to diving into these strategies with those specific action steps, because I believe it could be truly transformative. We're working on a number of our processes and procedures right now. We have a team that is developing MUSD CARES customer service standards. It's truly in the draft stages, but it gives me chills just thinking about it, because it is the kind of work that will support every employee in every interaction that they have. So I'm looking forward to that tremendously. This goal also speaks to creating relationships with our business and our faith-based partners, bringing them in to break bread together like we're going to do on March 1st. So, because when they hear our story and they see what we stand for, they're going to be very proud to associate their name with us. And so that's going to be exciting as well. So goal 4, becoming the pride of Maricopa, earning that pride, keeping that pride, I think has such breadth and depth. But when we move to the strategies and the action steps, that's how we, operationalize this outcome. We make it interaction by interaction, process by process, procedure by procedure, week by week. We can take these broad goals, these hopes and dreams, and we can turn them into daily functions. It's going to take us a while to achieve it. We're calling in its completion, we're calling it MUSD 2025. That's not 5 years. But it's got a 5 in it. So this is kind of our baseline year anyway. And if we make it in 2024, I'll walk around and white it all out. Subject to your questions and your suggestions. Again, this is a living document, even when we present it in a more complete form in 2 weeks. It still is open to change and flexibility.
Board, any comments or questions?
I have a question. So, Dr. Lipman, will this be coming to us to approve the final strategic plan, and when will that be?
We're looking at that in 2 weeks.
Okay. I think it looks beautiful, and I just want to say thank you to whoever changed out the pictures from my last suggestion to make it really reflect how
Reflect it,
amazing
right.
and diverse our district is. So, yeah, I thank you for doing that. I appreciate it.
Now, there's some stuff in there, well, and I don't want to cut off your comments,
No.
but I do want, or questions, because I can stay here till midnight. But there's some really great promotional materials in here as well. This one is just talks about our process, our strategic planning process. You've seen the preschool flyers. You've seen some of the promotional materials that we've done for some of the accomplishments that we've had in our blended, our preschool, and our AP capstone that we are so incredibly proud of. CTE and A schools are also highlighted in this. So these are just preliminary copies of, they're almost in their draft form, subject to your suggestions and recommendations, but the pictures reflect the reality. And that's what the pictures do the programs justice. And so I thank you for recognizing the quality of the work here.
Yeah, it's huge. You know, it's beautiful. You've done a nice job.
Yeah. We have Michelle Terry,
I
our
know.
in-house communications person, who is our creative and design professional.
No, it's nice to see pictures of our own kids.
Oh, yeah, these are not stock photos.
Right, versus getting stock photos offline, because I know that going back,
Yes.
it's just very refreshing, and it's exciting, and it's inspiring. It really is. So,
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you.
I'd also like to piggyback on, I like the formats that and the flyers in here. I think it's great. There's a lot of preschool, and I understand because it's a new program. I would like to see if maybe we could develop more of some of our elementary, like our PBIS, like the Turbo Coffee,
Yeah.
like the Lighthouse School, and Butterfield's, their programs over there. And then, and Ram Academy. We touch on our CTE, but I think we need to touch, and the capstone, which is awesome, but I think we need to just, the more information you can put in here, I think the better off people are. So when they come and they start looking at schools, because believe it or not, February is the month that a lot of people start questioning where they're going to send their kids to school, and they're putting them on the lists and everything else. And we take everybody that lives in Maricopa boundaries. But I think it would just be a good idea if we could develop. I know that's a lot of work for Michelle, but but we
It's her
have
job.
but we have the pictures. The programs are out there. We've talked about them, and like you said, it's about shouting them from the rooftops. And I think this is an awesome way to do it. So kudos.
Yeah. Happy to do it.
Looking at this, the first thing that comes to my mind is what came up here in the past year. It's the hashtag proud to be MUSD. This is it. This is really, really good. I know there's a lot of time that's been invested in this, but I think that with where we're going, with it's fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you for the feedback.
Any other comments?
I had to just run through it very quickly to
Right.
make sure we get everything, because there is such a thing as information overload. But I don't think we've reached that point. This is about the perfect amount.
Yeah.
There is something in there about blended. I wanted to make sure that program was included. It's one of our most successful programs. I'll second Mr. Trey's comment about RAM Academy, we've invested quite a bit in making sure that we have that available, so having that in there as well. And maybe some kind of mention of the number of NBC teachers that we have in the district, letting parents, prospective parents know that we have a very high level of very dedicated professionals at MUSD. So maybe some mention of that. But the package looks amazing. It puts a professional face on what we're trying to share with the public.
Great. Thank you.
And I just want to follow up that I agree, obviously, with what my colleagues on the board said. I just want to thank you, Dr. Lotman, for your leadership in this and all of the staff that worked on this. I think it's, as Mr. Owen said, exactly what we need and a perfect plan for MUSD, and I'm confident that you and your staff will implement it fully, and you'll have to walk around with whiteout because it'll be before 2025. So I
Right.
look forward to it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to credit the cabinet because they have been crafting strategies and action steps and recrafting and revising and being more flexible than they probably thought they could be at a moment's notice. And their hard work is in every syllable and sentence and semicolon in these strategies. And then when you see the action steps, I think you had a preview of them previously, lots of work. And that is, I just walk around with the plan. They're the ones who are executing and working diligently to meet those goals. And so I want to credit them and their hard work. Thank you,
Great.
Cabinet, and thank you, Board, for giving us this great opportunity. Timing is everything, and we're ready to leap forward from our last strategic plan into this one.
Great, thank you. If there aren't any more questions or comments, we can move on to the consent agenda, minus 6F and 6I. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Lisa, will you please call the roll?
Patty Cotray,
Aye.
Joshua Judd,
Aye.
Tori Anderson,
Yes.
Ben Owens,
Aye.
Anne Marie Moore,
Yes. By your vote of 5-0, we have approved the consent agenda without F and I. We will now discuss, we'll start with 6F. Approve the district benefit plan for school year 2019-2020. Mr. Beckett.
Good evening. Tonight you have in front of you just a truncated kind of document that explains a little bit about what our benefit plans are going to look like for the next year. Additionally, there was some information that included about some of the costs associated with the district. Every year, this is always an adventure. We want to very carefully as much cost increase to our employees. This year, we'll be able to, those that are on our PPO plan, will actually be paying the exact same thing
Oh,
this year.
good.
So it's a flat rate increase for them. Those that are on the high deductible plan will move from $15 a month to about $31. But then additionally,
Still not bad.
we're also paying $50 paycheck contribution toward an HSA account for them.
Okay.
We kind of encourage them to be, this is
That's great.
never perfect, we wish we could do more, but again, we have moved over the last, I'd say, 4 or 5 years from very, very rich plans to more market comparable plans for really other school districts. So again, we're asking for your support and blessing on this proposal for this year's plans.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions?
Well,
comments?
I'm the one that pulled it off.
Yes,
So
sure.
thank you. That's the information I wanted to hear. Speaking for somebody who has to pay their own insurance, that's phenomenal. I'm just curious. When you put together this plan, were there employees on this committee meeting or a meeting, or is this just, you just kind of sat down nuts and bolts with the insurance agencies and tried to get the best rate possible?
Remember the same thing, this has probably been an administrative task.
Okay.
So again, we come, bring a committee or anything like that.
Okay.
These things come up during the course of the
Okay.
So we have had staff input on suggestions that they'd like to see these benefit plans moving forward.
Okay, that's what I need to know. So thank you. So if there's no other discussion, I just want to make a motion to approve 6F.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Lisa?
Patty Cottrell.
Aye.
Joshua Judd.
Aye.
Tori Anderson.
Yes.
Ben Owens.
Aye.
Anne Marie Moore.
Yes. By your vote of 5-0, you have approved 6F. Thank you, Mr. Beckett. We will now move on to 6I, approved travel for Maricopa High School seniors to Disneyland in Anaheim, California, May 20th to 21st, 2019. Mrs. Cottrell, you pulled this?
Yeah, President Nor, unfortunately, I think this is an awesome opportunity, but because I have a senior who will probably participating in this, I'm going to have to abstain from voting.
Okay. Great. Are there any other questions or concerns? Motions?
If there's no further discussion, motion to approve?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Lisa?
Joshua Judd.
Aye.
Tori Anderson.
Yes.
Ben Owens.
Aye.
Anne Marie Moore.
Yes. By your vote of 4-0, with Mrs. Cottrell abstaining, you have passed 6I.
We're going to Disneyland.
Great. And Mr. Beckett's back up for 7A, personnel schedule.
Thank you, President Moore, members of the governing board, Dr. Willoughby. You have the personnel schedule that's going in front of you. If you have any specific questions, you can address them. We'll do that.
Board?
I don't have any questions.
As you can see, we are expanding our food services
Yeah.
program. There will probably be some additional expansions coming in further
Good.
board talks about staff that we need for our schools to expand. But we believe this is going to be in line with what we need to feed our kids on a regular basis.
Well, especially at the high school. I know that that's a big issue. So I'm happy to see that we're investing in that because our kiddos need to get in and out. So thank you.
Go ahead and ask. Josh,
Any other questions?
can you say anything?
Miss-
Mr. Beckett, I just have one question. Have contracts gone out for renewal for teachers? Because I noticed that there's a lot of teachers that are resigning at the end of the school year, and I'm wondering, have we sent our contracts out?
Actually, one of the agenda items on tonight was the approval of the contract language.
It's in the
Okay.
it was in the consent.
We'll be bringing back our list of certified staff members and administrators on our next agenda for approval. We hope to have contracts out on Thursday following the approval of that list of certified staff.
Great.
I mean, there's a lot of teachers on this list, and our contracts haven't even gone out yet.
That is correct.
Have we,
We're still about 22 at this point in time resignations at this point, so our typical attrition rate is right around 50.
I was going to say that's
Okay.
less than,
So
yeah.
I don't see it as an anomaly.
okay. That's what I wanted to know. Thank you very much.
Any other questions or motions?
Motion to approve the HR schedule as written.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Lisa?
Patty Cottrell.
Aye.
Joshua Judd.
Aye.
Tori Anderson.
Yes.
Ben Owens.
Aye.
Anne Marie Moore.
Yes. By your vote of 5-0, you've approved the personnel schedule. Thank you, Mr. Beckett.
Thank you.
We are now on to item 7B, discussion and possible approval of resolution authorizing the execution of warrants between board meetings. Please, Mr. Virgil.
Madam President, Governing Board members, Dr. Willoughby. Good evening. The item before you is common among school districts. It allows districts to pay bills timely and payroll cycles don't always align with government. So it allows us to put the payroll. So I wasn't specifically looking for it, but it came to my attention that our procedures weren't aligned with what the statute says. Because the way the statute is set up is that between a governing board meeting, individual governing board members can sign a voucher, and once we get 3 signatures, we can submit it to the county for the payment, and then at the very next meeting, ratify that. And then we have that argument that it was approved by the board. So our procedures were such, in 2 ways, we were failing to meet that. We weren't weren't necessarily getting 3 signatures on every voucher.
Mhm.
And we weren't getting it to the board at the very next meeting to ratify. So easy enough to fix, put the procedures in place, talk to the staff, explain how we were going to do it. Everybody's on board. And so I thought, okay, we got that. And I thought, maybe I should just check the rest of this and make sure that we've got the resolution in place. So I checked with the board secretary, Ms. Hahn, and neither to her recollection or in the records do we have any evidence that we ever had this resolution.
Yeah, we've never.
Thus, come before you tonight and present this to you that we passed this resolution. And that way our procedures and our practice and our paperwork will all align with the statute. So
Good.
that's the purpose of this.
Great, thank you for that explanation. Are there any questions?
I do have a clarifying question.
Sure.
So, because I know I've questioned in the past why we get vouchers like 6 months after it was supposed to be paid. Will this ratify that?
This fixes that.
Okay. It's what I want to hear.
So
Thank
we're
you.
still going to get the
We're-
emails from Lisa asking to review the vouchers,
Yes.
like the one we got this afternoon?
Awesome.
Okay.
Great. Any other questions or motions?
I motion that we approve this resolution with the execution of warrants between board meetings.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second. Lisa?
Patty Craig.
Aye.
Joshua Judd.
Aye.
Tori Anderson.
Yes.
Ben Owens.
Aye.
Anna Renor.
Yes. By your vote of 5-0, you have approved item 7B. And we are on to item 8A. And I think this is a record, but it is 7:29 PM, and this meeting is adjourned.
Woohoo!
And we did a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a work study.